Okay, I'm back with another round of Suzerain. So in the last stream, what we did was, well, most importantly, is that um, there's a minor thing about the religious ceremony, but it seems that since I took note, that was easily dealt with. But I feel like one of the most biggest decisions that we made in the last stream was about regarding to either talk with Lesbia, uh, to begin talks with Lesbia and Lieutenant and Voxen. The thing is that in this area, Lesbia is like the representative for the for Acacia, which is the capitalist, and Voxland here is like a representative of the United Contana. Now, if you ask me, without a doubt, that having like I say, I want to be like Little Silva, where you balance up both sides of the like the superpower. But then I feel like if one thing is that I want to be friends with Magnolia, but if you're friends with Magnolia, then you can't you can't have a good relationship with Voxen because they're fighting for this piece of land over here. So I'm stuck between a rock and a hard piece because what many reasons for me to support Magnolia is because we are basically like at the precipice of being invaded by Romberg. Okay, so having Agnolia on our side will probably be a reason for me to a huge reason for me to have great relationship with them, so that if we ever get attacked, like they'll think twice. Like if you want to attack one, you have to attack both. Okay, and of course we can ask for Wachlan, but like I say, the reason why I want to have great relationship with Wachlan is because it's a dictatorship. Okay, and massive human rights abuse, but like they can still help. But look at that, it's like at the edge of us, like between Bergia and Nargis, and I don't really trust, like, even though Wachlan doesn't like Romberg, but I don't think he will go all out to save us. Okay, so that's one that's like different factors put together. It's not really viable. But I feel like Romberg, if I'm not mistaken, Romberg is neither, because Romberg is still a monarchy, if I'm not mistaken. So it doesn't, they don't ally with any of the superpower, but because they are strong enough to maintain their own sphere of influence. And if I'm not mistaken, early on I did read that Dome here was originally Agnolians. So basically, like, it reminds me a lot of Russia with Crimea. But with that said, that's what I felt like happened in the last stream. Now let's head towards the Maroon Palace and start having a dinner with the Justice Isabel. Now, the reason why we need to have a dinner with the Justices is that we did pass our let me see, legislative. Wait, where is it? Young Sordland. Order. Ooh, welfare's looking good. Military doesn't look that good. Economy, let's just double check. Stabilizing, recovered trade volumes, stagnated production. Slightly recovered transportation art network. Okay, now what I was saying is that we need their help, okay, to pass our reforms, okay. So the old guards, they are basically the biggest one. They have 5 of them, 3 reformists, 3 centrists. So hopefully, like, this is what I'm hoping. Like, without a doubt, the most logical thinking is like get both the reformers and Frontiers together. But I do feel like I want to chip away one out of the old guard. Who knows that one of the sentries, like, they got blackmailed or forced to take up the to take up position against us. So, like, I feel like that's the key. Another thing is that I kind of regretted that I didn't invest a bit more money on law enforcement and gave them to Nia Mogna so that she can start the anti-corruption force. Maybe we can, like, get them get some dirt on them. But I remember that one of the the reform bills that we're trying to pass, like, we didn't revoke their immunity. So maybe, like, for better or for worse, like, how easy to say, I think I did the right move, but I feel like I should have taken it. But the problem is our budget. Look at that. Okay, dinner with Justice Isabel. I wonder if like our budget is still terrible because, like, the economy, like, doesn't go up. If it goes up, maybe, like, we can recover one or two. So that's my mistake. But at least I'm happy that a lot of welfare programs are going. Okay, let's start. Nia Mogna had arranged a dinner meeting with Justice Isabel Edmonds this evening. Nia and ahead of the dinner, Nia and I had met to have a talk. We settled on a table on the second floor of the Papillion, a world-class Lesbian restaurant in downtown Hawthorne. The whole floor was reserved for us, and the music coming from downstairs was enough to guard our voices from potential eavesdropper. I still can't believe Sol came to vote. I'm sure he has also pressured the justices of the court right after that win. I can't speak any sense to them. I feel like it's better not only Justice Edmonds, because, like, let's say that she's with us, but what about the others? We can't pass it with just only two. So let's ask, what's the atmosphere in the court? Most of the justices don't really talk when I'm around. They don't trust me as I'm an outsider of the court. I only know two justices I mentioned earlier who are with me, so we have 3 votes here. We still need 3 more. Isabel can potentially bring 2 to 3 votes. That's why she's our ticket. The old guards are frantically opposing your proposals, so I doubt there is any possibility there. But we might still need their help if Isabel can bring exactly the 3 votes we need. This one, we won the vote. We could still persuade also. Like, that's wishful thinking. What about Huron? I thought we could get him. Huron is a possibility, yes. I dislike him, but if we really want to be sure we need him, a disgrace of justice he is. What about Justice Edmund? Do you think we can sway her? Yes, I think she's our best bet. We have a meeting with her now, after all. She's not openly protesting against the old guard, but she has told me her concerns about them. She's certainly open to dialogue, but also skeptical. She seemed to be scared of a potential purge against the court. So you think she's scared of us? She's not entirely scared about the situation, but then again, none of the court even believe that you will pass the assembly. So maybe she's feeling the pressure on her now, but in any case, we'll discover that soon enough. What has also been doing? He's been doing his best to organize the court against your proposal. Their weakest link is Huron, but the rest is unbreakable. We need to talk to Huron then. Yes, we might need him for the last vote. See, this is what I say. We might need a person like Huron is from the old guard. Okay, notable justice. Okay, he's an old guard. Like Orso Hawker, he's a true believer. I just want to check out Huron Garasi for a while. I remember I read him a bit. This is bad. He became infamous for his obstructionist methods against President Alfonso and his policies. Oh my god! Like, Alfonso, it's our predecessor, which is like they are stopped by the old guard. And reading this part kind of scares me a bit. But even if we have to taint our hand, stain our hand a bit, like being a little bit corrupt, it's for the better of the country. Like, we need to pass the reforms no matter what. You should call Lucian. He has been trying to deal with him. Let's talk about our next steps. Well, the next step is also speaking to Isabel and making sure she votes for the proposal, but also the way to approach us and bow in respect. Did you decide on the entree, sir? We have a guest coming. We'll wait for her to order. Like, this is funny thing is, I learned this from Yakuza, from Yuga Gotoku. Is that in Zero, like, you're like, of course you are the lower person. Like, in this case, the one that have the power is Isabel, okay, the guest, okay. And even though we're the president, in a sense that we are in the low standing right now because I was trying to ask for a favor. And just want to say that like, the character that actually taught us this is that, say, what do you feel if like the boss came and you were just happily eating or drinking coffee? How would that make that person feel? So that's why I feel like, we should hold it off. Like, think about it. If Isabel came, oh, you already studied without me. So that kind of thinking is like, you need to maybe, I think it plays like favorability score, as well as our content, like our policy content also plays, and their favorability. Like, you can be very good in your policy and like favor them, but if you treat them like shit, they're not gonna be happy with you. Of course, sir. I'll be around. He went downstairs again. Nia took a sip from her glass of water and looked at me. Ooh. Yabai. Let's talk about you a little. Yeah. Do you think we'll succeed? Romance. Wifey's gonna kill us. Do you think we'll succeed? I like to hope so, yes. We might need to get both Isabel and Hiron to work with us. I don't want to rely on Isabel to bring exactly 2 votes. It's risky. See? Even she agrees with me. Let's not overthink this though, Mr. President. We have to focus on the meeting with Isabel now. But anyway, she took another sip from her glass. So, how about you? How have you been holding out? I'm fine, Mr. President. Thanks for asking. I'm just focused on our proposal. If it passes the Supreme Court, this will be historical monument for Sordland. I just don't want to see another failure trying to change this constitution anymore. Me neither, Mrs. Mogna. Mrs. Yabai. We have to make sure that we succeed. I've done my best so far, Mr. President. It's up to you now to proceed with Isabel. I'm slightly scared that Isabel's help might not be enough. That we might need Hiron's help one way or another. With she saying this repeatedly, I assume that we have to rely on that. Like I say, we might need to resort to bribery. We might need to resort to, staining our hands with corruption. but it's for the better of you, for the country. Anyway, let's talk about what we'll do, Isabel. Let's try not to agitate her when she comes. We won the vote, so she already has pressure on her. But if she feels cornered, we might lose her. It's important not to put too much pressure on her. Like we shouldn't scare her off. That's for the best. Suddenly, I noticed Justice Edmonds coming upstairs. She was wearing a plain dark grey dress that hid most of her features. Good to see you, Mrs. Edmonds. Nia got up from her chair and shook Isabel's hand. Stand up for a handshake. Like, it's a bit rude if you just sit there. It's like, if you stand up and go for a handshake, it means that, like, you are respecting them. Mr. President, good to see you. I think it's best to, like, say, good to see you, Justice Edmonds. Like, we respect her position, because she definitely had to work hard to get where she is now. It's like if somebody who worked hard to get a PhD and you don't call them a doctor, it's a bit rude to them. She took a seat across the table. How was your day, Mrs. Edmonds? I would normally say good, but this time I would like to take the liberty to say it was insanely exhausting. Heavy court matters, again, not that I'm complaining. Suddenly the waiter approaches us. Are you ready to give the order, sir, madame? I have the sauté perlaise, please. As you wish. Let's ask Mrs. Edmonds first. I have the salad, thank you. And you, sir? To show respect, we should always choose the same food that the others have. Like right now, we're trying to court her favor, so I'll ask for the salad. Perfect. He took a couple of notes in his tiny notebook. I'll be back shortly. He went back downstairs, leaving us alone on the upper floor again. Obviously, the situation in the Supreme Court, like I said, don't pressure her. Like, try to choose the one that is least, how should I say this? Least, stressful for them. How's the situation in the Supreme Court? Let's just say busy. I remember that we can also increase the if I gave extra to Nia, budget to Nia, she can actually have more judges, streamline it better. She moved herself to the chair to be more comfortable. First of all, congratulations with the vote in the Grand National Assembly. I don't think Isabel is that small to actually care, to hold a grudge on that, but it would be a great help if we did. It's like, it won't go to a negative, but it's a positive if we have one. I admire your struggle, especially because you were strong enough to include concessions from your side. You really are brave, Mr. President, trying to go against Taquin Soul, member of honor, right, huh? But now you face the Supreme Court, and it pains me to say that your proposal has a very low chance of getting through it. But you like the proposal? Let's ask her. No, I don't like the proposal, so the current situation is clear. You need our wing to vote for you, otherwise all of your hard work will be in vain. I'm sure we can make a deal. Like, if I say that, it's like we're conceding straight up. So like, I'm just gonna say, I'm not going to deny that is the situation. Like, we're not gonna put the pressure on her, but she already knows that she has pressure from the people. So let's just say, number one, I'm not going to deny that is the situation, because like saying that this is like we are admitting the situation. It's like kind of a defeatist, but going straight for the deal, it's even weaker. That's a start. See, it's like trying to butter her up. At that moment, the waiter came back from downstairs carrying plates of the food. After seeing that we were in the midst of discussion, he averted his eyes and approached us. He quickly started serving the food and refilled our glasses. He placed the plate of salad luco in front of me. It looked very fresh and smelled of olive oil. I was very hungry. Bon appetit. Thank you, it looks delicious. The waiter bowed to us and quickly went downstairs. We wished each other a good meal as Isabel and Neil slowly started to eat. So, Mrs. Edmonds, are you still thinking about thinking the same about the old guard? Of course, nothing has changed. That's good, we still have that in common. So, in other words, they don't like the old guards? That doesn't mean I will accept any proposal the old guards oppose. Yet, we must do something. We also know that we need this change in our institutions. Isabel took a sip from her water and turned to me. Tell me, Mr. President, what are your real intentions? We need a better democracy. That's all I'm striving for. Or I only want a strong Sordland. But if I say this, it's like, but you reduce your power. So, like if I say I only want a strong Sordland, like there are a couple of things that undermine what I said. Is that well, in the long run, it's for the better of the country. I think like she's not looking that far, and of course she has so many things on her mind. So just say we need a better democracy. That's all I'm striving for. For some reasons, I doubt that. But let's say this proposal goes through. What will be your next move? I don't want to say to further reforms because like this is the first step to dismantle us. Focus on internal and external threats. It's either 1 or 3. To ensure new processes are respected and executed in transparency. They are the centrists, you know. They're not corrupt. I think it's best to say for our internal and external threats. Now, the reason why is that, like I say, all guards are corrupt. Reformists, like, they should have been the least corrupt. So, like, the centrists is like, maybe, like, they are corrupt a little. Because remember, they have immunity. So, in a sense, let's go for number 3. Focus on internal and external threats. That's relieving to hear. I thought you forgot about all the other issues. Isabel took another sip from her water and looked at me without saying anything. This is hard. 3 is no. 3 is pressuring her. It's either 1 or 2. Like, number 1 is like, I don't want to put her pressure, but I do want her to think that we are just a weakling and we need her. Like, we need to maintain our, how should I say this? Easy way to put it, we need to maintain our outstanding. Like, she needs to know we still have some power here. What do you want in return? I don't want anything, Mr. President. My vote is not for sale. I didn't come here to be disrespected. I did not intend any offense, Mrs. Edmonds. Please accept my apologies. Of course. She sighed and, oh, damn it! Wrong. Can you explain me one thing? How come you think that the Supreme Court's right to vote on constitutional amendments is a major problem with such a priority? I thought we were. I'm asking the President, Mrs. Mogna. The judiciary should not have okay. In other words, like if you want to see that how we think, okay, like if we really believe that this thing is troubling for us, then like if you really think that this is troubling for us, then we should be honest with it, okay? And my opinion is that further down the line, like the court can stop us from trying to enact good things. So I'll go for number 2. The court has been stopping every constitutional change, Mrs. Edmonds. If I say the judiciary should not have legislative powers, that's like you're trying to reduce it for no good reason. Actually, the court has been stopping every constitutional change, Mrs. Edmonds. So that is your position, I see. I don't know what to say, Mr. President. I want the old guard gone as much as you, but I'm proud about this proposal. She doesn't want reform, so one is out. Like number two, it's not like we don't respect her. Please, Mr. Edmonds, we need your help. Mr. President, I'm wondering, if you were in Seoul's position, how would you have constructed the Supreme Court? What do you believe is its role? The court protects the Constitution. I would have done. If I say this, like, you are trying to change the Constitution, so number 3 is out. If I say purely advisory body for legislation and high criminal court, it shows that, oh, so you think that we should have less power. It must have judicial review and strike down laws that are against the Constitution. Strike down laws that are against the Constitution. But that doesn't mean that the Constitution should be immune. You say protect the Constitution, but you're trying to change. Strike down laws that are against the Constitution. Oh my god, it's very hard to know what she's thinking. So what do you think about judicial review? It plays an essential role in ensuring that each branch of the government recognizes its limits of its power. Number 2. Precisely. I'm glad that we agree on that. Isabel went on to finish the remaining of her salad. So Mrs. Edmonds, what are you thinking? I want to help you, Mrs. Mogna, but she took a sip from her glass. Well, actually I have to say this. I'm really surprised that you are bringing term limits. That's one good point of the proposal. Anyway, I don't have much else to say. So you have decided then? Let's see. Now, I think it's like, even though like this means it's a little bit rude, but you're trying to be more cordial. Please, Isabel, this vote means a lot to us. If I was there, this it means a lot to us. Not only me, but to Sordland as well. Okay, let me finish, Mr. President. I think I can get behind this proposal. Thank you, Mrs. Edmonds. I think I can get you the votes you need. I'll do my best to convince my group, but I can only speak for myself. Thank you. Don't pressure her. If you pressure her, then she's like, how ungrateful. Okay? Say thank you. That's great to hear that you will support us. Thank you. I see that we're all finished with our meals too. I think it's time to conclude this meeting. Thank you for inviting me here, Mr. President. If I say this like a bit too hard, let's change the Constitution. Mrs. Edmonds like shouting. Like, this is putting too much pressure. Like, thank you for coming. Just be calm. Play it cool. Don't do too much. Just stood up and shook my hand. Thank you for the meeting, Mrs. Edmonds. Likewise. Isabel took her coat and walked downstairs. Mia and I looked at each other. That's good news. We still need to reach out to more people. She won't be enough. You should maybe talk to Lucian about other options. You may try reaching out to Huron if you want. After a few minutes of thoughtful silence, we also got up from our seats and left the restaurant. It was a good start, but I was uncertain if Isabel would be enough. I got in the presidential Cadilla and Sergey started driving me home. Whew, that was tense. Ellery. Reach out to Justice Huron. Another meeting. Justin has rejected our initial talk, but we can try to convince him again. To vote, we need to say that, sway Justin Hirongarasi. After the initial rejection, we could bribe him. Nia, no. Lucian, maybe. But we need to make sure 100%. So, offer bribe. Private meeting with Justice Huron. Like I say, oh god, you're corrupt. It was yet another sunny day, and I was facing another important political figure, Hiron Garasi. The bride had worked and he agreed to have a meeting with me just before the court vote. We scheduled to meet outside Hall Sword in the Gentleman's Club in Peter's Ellery, where we could have some privacy. I grabbed a drink and sat down on the balcony of the villa overlooking its vast garden. Hiron sat next to me in his beige check suit and took off his white trilby. Very nice location you set up here, Mr. President. A gentleman's club, huh? Just like we thought this place would be fitting. Yes, fitting. He straightened himself. So, Mr. President, you went a long way to make this meeting possible. I have to pay you the respect. Please do speak of your intention and how could I be assistant to you? We need your help with the upcoming vote. Like I say, he knows we need his help. So like pressure him like, I need you to vote. It's probably gonna be like, oh, you think you have the upper hand, bitch? Bye bye. So like, like we need to like, even though I don't like him, we need to be kind to him. So I say we need your help in the upcoming vote. I'm prepared to do that as long as we help each other. Okay. He puffed himself up. I can help you beyond this vote. Wouldn't you want to have a Chief Justice who will be sympathetic to your concerns? Doesn't it sound nice? You're right, it does sound nice. Like, it's played dumb. Well, I agree. I already have a reasonable support behind me. If you can help me with some investments, I can be a valuable ally to have in the Supreme Court. And I will support you not only with the vote, but afterwards. I'm sorry, Mr. I don't have anything to spare. It's time I get going there. Oh, come on! Oh, come on! Seriously! I have no more wealth! This debt! I know bribe is the way to bring him, but... Oh god. Okay. This is a jerk-ass move, but I'm gonna load my previous save. Okay? This is a scumbag move. I admit that. So this time... Oh wait. Oh no! I just realized it. It's probably gonna save... it seems I'm stuck. No. Oh no. It's probably like resume from... I just hope that I can learn from the moment that I decided to give bribe or send Lucian. Yep, we screwed up. We thought this place would be fitting. Blah blah blah. We need your help. So you want to take Orso's space, huh? Is it really that unexpected? I already have reasonable support behind me. I can't promise that. I thought you were the one who asked for my help, Mr. President. I gave you my offer. If you don't like it, there will be no support from my end. Easy as that. Can we figure something else out? No. I'm sorry, Mr. Garcia, I don't have anything to spare. It's time I get going then. He put his head back and stood up. It was nice to have you here, Mr. Garcia. I hope you reconsider your support. God damn, I should have said Lucian. Thank you for inviting me here. It's a shame that we are leaving empty-handed, but it was a nice meeting. It left me alone with my thoughts. Dang it! Announcement of the Supreme Court's decision. Back at the office, I was eagerly waiting for the decision of the Supreme Court regarding our change to the Constitution. I stood up from my chair and looked out the window. Peter and Pascal were there too. Peter was slouching on the couch on the right side of the office, staring on the ceiling. Pascal sat across from me. He was also eagerly waiting for the results. The whole process had been tough on all of us, but now there was nothing left but to do for the justices to cast their vote. What do you think, Anton? Are we going to make history today? To be honest, I have a bad feeling about this. So you trust Isabel to bring the votes? I'm sure she will support the proposal. I hope so. My real worry is Huron. I think we need his vote. But anyway, we'll learn about the vote soon. The session is already underway. By the way, what time is it? I looked at the tall case clock in the room. It was already 20 past 11. The court's voting session was scheduled to end in 10 minutes. We have about 10 minutes. Okay, we'll soon hear about the results then. But anyway, he rose from his slouch and stretched. I don't know if you noticed, but Quesado has been getting popular in the assembly recently. Our party has been supporting him on a lot of bills, some of which have already reached you. What do you make of this? I think he's a very dangerous man, Anson. We can't let him divide our party. Yeah, this is true. Like, I wonder how, like, okay, look at this, okay? Faction, no. Look at this. Quesado Kibner, like, have 40. But how did he get a majority, basically like over 150? Like, how did he get all of that to get to my desk? Because I do have like veto power and all, so we have to watch him closely. His party only holds 40 seats, yet he manages to pass bills. That man is trouble. Maybe we shouldn't allow our party to be so generous with that, with what they support. Suddenly, Livia entered the room. In her hand was a large object wrapped in straw paper. Good day to you, Mr. President and Mr. Benwell. Am I interrupting you? No, please come in. Is there a problem? The Chief Justice has sent you this. She showed me a wrap object. Really, from Orso Hawker? Bring it here. Yes, sir. He walked to the table and gave it to me. Immediately started to remove the wrapping and reveal a framed photograph. It was an old black and white photograph of Tarquin Sol posing on a destroyed tank in Holsworth Square. The building behind him had thousands of bullet holes on it and clearly readable slogan "Victory is close" written on its walls. The date 14 March 1929 was written in the corner with a black marker. I turned to Olivia. Did Orso say anything to you about this? No, he was obviously trying to send you a message. Hi, Olivia. Nosing Peter on the couch, Olivia reddened slightly. She gave a small wave, which Peter returned. Mr. Vice President, I'll be leaving now. As soon as she left the room, Peter came up next to me and took a look at the photograph. Nice present. Yeah, more so. What is it? Victory will be close. Orso's getting ahead of himself. Suddenly, Lucian rushed into the room. Mr. President, the vote has been concluded. we immediately gathered around him. Shit! Congratulations, the constitution changes are finalized with the 6 justices voting for the proposal. Yes! Oh, bitch, Huron, you're gonna go down. Peter jumped up and down like a little kid. Yes, congratulations, everybody. Oh, fucking Huron. And also Hawker, you're gonna regret that. This is a historic moment, Anson. We have changed Seoul's constitution of 1929. I'm without words. We are writing history. Well, like, this is just the beginning. Hell yes, it is. Peter approached me to give me a hug. Hug him. They hug each other. You did well, Anson. Congratulations, sir. Today is a big day. We must also start preparing a speech to announce the changes, sir. I'll go ahead and reach out to the cabinet. We can celebrate this together over a meeting. Shit. All of us immediately got to work to plan our next steps after our Supreme Court victory. Cabinet meeting on the results of the... God damn. Let's see, all sort post. New constitution! Woo! Unchangeable, blah 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 blah. The triumph is for all of Sordland citizens who love democracy and wanted a change. Franz Richter. Although some of them expressed disappointment that the new changes do not reflect on the will of the people, many USB supporters reacted with jubilation in public spaces across Sordland on Friday night. Like, I think like the people also understand that, yeah, we need to go through a lot. Like, we want more, but this is the best we can get now. They just stood upright, holding a large square folder, large folder of files under his arm. He bowed in acknowledgement. He looked exhausted. The cabinet has gathered in the White Room, sir. The Vice President will be opening the session soon. We can go in whenever you're ready. Thank you, Lucian. You look tired. How are you holding up? It's nothing, sir. I'm ready and able as always. Are you sure? You can be honest with me. I'm always honest with you, sir. I admit this last year was tough, especially all that lobbying work, but it's nothing to break me down, sir. Trust me, I'm fine. He fixed his tie. Anything you want to say before we go in? I only want to congratulate you again, sir. You wrote history. I couldn't have done it without you, man. Lucian is like... He's the backbone of our operation. Losing him would basically means like we're losing an arm. Like, okay, it's confusing because I did say backbone. Like, easy to say, things will not go smooth. He put a lot of effort into this, and like Lucian is like the unsung hero of like in somebody great. So for example, like without a doubt, Martin Luther King Jr. is great, but I think like the people around him, like who allow him to be the leader that he could, is also like important. But they are unsung heroes. Okay, every time that we are going to respect pay respect to people like this, we also need to remember that we also need to remember what the people around them who supported them gave to. I could have done it without you. He slightly bowed his head. He gestured to the door. I think we should go, sir. Vice President Baxter must have started the session already. Lucia held the door for me, and we both left the office for the White Room. When we entered the room, Peter was speaking to the cabinet members who were already seated around the table. As soon as they noticed me, they all stood up. Good day, everybody. Please have a seat. Peter turned towards me. Everyone except him took their seats. He stood right next to my chair in the middle. And here's our president. He held up my chair for me to sit down and smile. Please. I sat down. What's on our agenda? We'll be discussing our current status and planning the remainder of our term. Peter walked to his seat but didn't sit down. He took a look at the ministers. Now that Mr. President is here, we can begin the meeting. I know that some of you had your concerns about our style of governance so far. There will be a time to speak about these in the meeting today. But I also must thank all of you for your hard work so far. We are very lucky to have a team like this. All of you have been invaluable to this administration. Lilius grimaced at his remarks. Having said that, we have reached a critical point of our term. We are nearing the end. We successfully made changes to the Sordland constitution. This is a historic accomplishment. Without this team, it couldn't have been possible. The new constitution has brought us one step closer to the Sordland dream. We should be proud of for having strengthened our democracy. Our successes with these changes has brought with it great support. Our party, which was divided at the beginning of the term, is finally coming together once more. So let's start the meeting with a brief look at some reports. He fumbled with the stack of papers in front of him. According to the latest poll, people seem to be content about our administration. The public opinion has not changed much. He took out a piece of paper from the stack and inspected it. The biggest concern of the people is the state of our economy. We are slowly slipping into depression. It's only a matter of time until the people will be hit further. This will have dire consequences for our administration. This is the time to give the best we can for this administration and Sordland. Peter turned to me. I give the word to President now. He sat down. Okay. Mr. Vice President, thank you for the opening. Everyone's eyes will focus on me. First, I want to hear a brief report from each ministry. Peter gestured at Simon and he immediately stood up. Mr. President, dear colleagues, was pretty on point with his summary of the current economic status. He also used the word depression. He couldn't have been more correct. Our GDP has shrunk by 50% last year. This downward trend has broken our economy over the last years. If we cannot contain it this time, we will end our term. It is in the truest sense of the word, in a depression. However, this has not yet reflected well on our debt situation. Our national debt has increased to 85 billion SR this year. If we maintain such a deficit over the next years, we will face a massive debt crisis which should crash the economy. The Assembly is working on introducing new taxes which will generate more revenue for the government. These efforts will depend on the government deficit situation. On the other hand, unemployment has seen no positive changes. There has been increase in joblessness. It is now at 26%. We have lost control of the situation. We have caused millions of people to lose their jobs. He paused for a moment. This is terrible. Is there more to it? Well, I don't want to get into too much detail right now, but I have to say sadly, our first infrastructure has not resulted in much growth yet. But apart from all that, I'll finish an update with our latest project. The manager had reported that everything is going well and very fast to start our agricultural zone. I'll keep it for the sake of the whole meeting and end my report on that note. Thank you, Mr. Hall. Gus stood up as Simon sat down. I'll keep it very brief, Mr. President. Our farmers are still suffering. Our ministry did its best by giving subsidies to local farmers, but agricultural production remains the same. We have only recorded some development in Angler region, but our farmers in Gelsland and Bergia are still suffering. That will be all from me. Thank you, Mr. Manger. Next up, it was Pascal, Mr. President. There is currently no major problem within the Ministry of Health. They are currently investigating some reports of small polio outbreaks around the village called Haymere. I believe we can get into more details in our policy meeting. Thank you, Mr. Bennywall. ESS stood up. The Ministry of Defense has a very important report regarding our situation with Ramberg. The investigation showed that Ramberg was in fact weaponizing rebels against our state. We have learned that they have been aiding Bluish rebels in Rakun too. So this is what I kind of like feel sus, going with Rakun, because like I know that they are not a reliable ally, because like the dictator, like if you bother him up, he can easily turn your backs against you, like, and stab you in the back. Our military must stand ready for any possible attack coming from Rumberg. We have gathered intelligence regarding their military research and production. They are building a massive army. Our military forces don't have the budget to prepare against such a force. We cannot let them threaten us like this. We should bring our military forces closer to Agnolia. I think number 3, we should bring our military forces closer with Agnolia. Of course, sir, we have already started cooperating, but I must highlight Agnolia cannot stand against Rumberg. We can only trust ourselves. I don't think we should escalate. Let's refrain from sending them a response. Of course, sir. David stood up. Mr. President, Perla has agreed to begin deal negotiation. We will be moving with that very soon. Our relations with Agnolia has greatly improved. Our ministries have scheduled many joint projects together. This region is very unstable with the incidents at Rumberg. Wackland and Hazyland must be very cautious. We can talk in more detail in our foreign policy meeting. Your concerns have been heard. Kiara was next. Our ministry is working day and night to improve our education system and increase its accessibility. We have since greatly improved our rural education, building new schools and bringing new equipment and books. We have accomplished a lot with our new curriculum. Our reforms will be greatly improving our output as a society. Livia stood up. Mr. President, we have important equipment missing from several of our major police departments. We might need to implement some new measures soon. We will provide you with a more detailed report at a later date. One last thing, I would like to transfer Gendarmerie under the Ministry of Interior to improve the internal security efforts. Gendarmerie? Basically, this is like the state. Easy to say, this is a state-owned army, maybe? Different from the police, different from the military. It's like it worked maybe in between. If you need more help, I can surely arrange a transfer. Wouldn't have brought it up if it was not necessary. The Ministry of Defense shouldn't be meddling with the internal security through the Gendarmerie. We have several incidents where they have been too violent and too quickly, and it stems from military officers giving reckless orders at times. Yeah, this sounds like police brutality in a sense. The military is always a little too harsh, and it results in more unrest. Our police forces are trained to remain calm and suppress protests. So in other words, you want to train them. Okay, that's a good idea. Give me a second. I turn off the AC. It's getting a bit hot, here. Well, it's always hot. It is Malaysia after all. We are on the equator. I'll support the Gendarmerie Authority transfer. Now it's your turn. I can't make that promise. Elsa will be furious. That is unfortunate. Lydia smiled faintly. Do you have anything to share, Mrs. Mogna? Lydia shook her head. At this time, Mr. President, you are already well aware of what's going on. I'll update you on our next steps in the judiciary in another meeting. Thank you. Nia took her seat. Now, I want to talk about our new focus and some of my plans forward. The state of our economy is very concerning. It must be our focus to achieve quick economic development. Simon agree. Not an agreement. Sordland needs to become an economic powerhouse. We need to fix the economy first before we can actually like eliminate poverty and homelessness. Almost everybody seems to be in agreement with me. If there are no comments, I'll talk about another plan. Now that we can, we will start an investigation on Tarquin's soul. It was long overdue. Dang, this is the hard choice. Like, we can do that, but we don't have the anti-corruption police. And it's gonna anger our base. Oh boy. But it's for the better future. Now that we can, we start an investigation on Tarquin's soul. It was long overdue. Elsie narrowed his eyes and stared at me. I couldn't feel but feel comfortable. Stood up and took a long look at the ministers around the table. I have no words, and nobody's going to react. I cannot believe this emperor comes from the United Sordland Party. A lot of people suffer under soul. Justice must be served. He will not sit idly by against your attack, Mr. President. Number one is just too rude. Let's move on, Mrs. Graff. If there are no comments, let's move on with the meeting. Probably like, if I do that, then like the USP is gonna be very, very angry with me. Okay. I believe that is everything. I do feel like he needs to be investigated. Everybody packed up and left the white room. I went back to my office. The last 2.5 years had gone by so fast. Report from Borin. Inflation report. Lack of daily supply in Borin. Citizens are still dying of hunger and lacking of necessary supplies. Making a Borin report that people are buying and hoarding goods before the shortage rent loses any more value. Unfortunately, they actually have made things worse. Whistleblower agent report. Secret nuclear weapon have been developed. Our intelligence have verified the details relayed about a heavy water facility in the north of the kingdom and a ballistic missile test site. The agent will provided security under this protection program and will be given resources to transfer further intelligence to our unit. Gang violence claim more lives. The Coronelli family. Oh my god. Address the nation speech. Office of the President of Sordland, Maroon Palace. Lucian and I walked into my office and Maroon Palace to make my address to the nation speech. It was unusually crowded today. Cameras, lights, microphones were set in the palace, or in the place, and the crew was standing by, ready to start filming. Are you ready, sir? Yes, let's do it. Good, I think the crew is ready. As soon as you take your seat, we can go live. Before that, immunity or horror. Future limit. I took my seat and rearranged my notes on the desk as a crew member powdered my face with a cotton puff. After everybody was ready, the director gave the sign to start filming. I looked directly into the camera. Brothers and sisters, like with just same sword, like we are ignoring the bluish and like other minorities. I'd like to speak about our future, about a great historic effort to give the world freedom, fairness, and hope a new meaning and power. I'm proud of what our government has accomplished, and we have finally brought. This is not really. We have reached a turning point in Sordland's history. Our new constitution is just a second. The new system. Okay, I see. Our new constitution is the second revolution in the history of Sordland that truly transformed the course of government with just one word: democracy. We transformed a bill that had caused endless confusion and resentment. That's a bit too much. I think it's better too. We made a constitution that no longer protect the rights of select few elites, but ensure the participation of all. By now, I'm sure you all have one question. From henceforth government law. Okay, I think it's number 2. I've spoken with and received the letters from thousands of you. I know how hungry you were for change. Make no mistake, together we can change Sordland forever. We now ensure the idea. We now ensure that neither I nor any other person who holds the position of president will pose the risk of ruling by decree. I will personally make that every change is respected and executed properly. We intend to strengthen the democratic. If I say this is kind of like help with the minority but anger the anger our base, so I just say I'll personally make sure that every change is respected and executed properly. We did all this to We did all of this in time of economic stress and despite heavy protests. Voices were raised saying that we had to look to our past for greatness and glory. We proved and we will continue to prove them wrong. This sounds a bit too rude. I think it's number 1. We did all of this in a time of economic stress and despite heavy protests. It is time to renew our faith in our system. The new changes in our system have planted the seeds of untold future successes. I think it's better for number 2. The new change in our system have planted the seeds for untold future successes. I pause to take a deep breath. I think it's better for number 2. With all reforms complete, our government will focus on economic development for Sordland. Like I say, economy is looking very bad. Fellow citizens Sordland, let me assure you our nation is poised for greatness. Let's see. Today we must do what is right and do all our might. Give me a second. Let's see. These were the golden years. Nah, not this. You must do what is right. I think it's better for 1. Fellow citizens of Sordland, let me assure you, our nation is poised for greatness. I'll remind you of the revolutionary phrase. I don't want to say this because our economy is not good yet. Okay, I want to answer number 3. Like if I answer number 3, I feel like we're gonna have extra extra support for our party, but at the same time, I'm gonna anger like the other parties as well. How should I go with this? How should I go with this? Neither Sordland party will keep fighting for a stronger and more united Sordland. The future is in our hand. Don't remember our campaign promise is not to rely on either. I took another deep breath. Pollution shoot fly away from my forehead. For a Sordland of wisdom that honors family, knowing that the family goes, so goes on. For a Sordland of courage. For a Sordland of vision that sees tomorrow's dream in the learning and hard work we do today. It's either number 2 or number 3, because like number 1, like we kind of forsaken our predecessors, so that's not really it. But number 3 is like more like speech, like for a Sordland of courage whose servicemen and women, even as I speak, proudly stand watch on the frontier of freedom. This is like more like to give voices to the women as well. I think I'll go with this. I think this one is best because like economy is not doing that well. If we say this, like if we pat our backs, we pat ourselves on the back now, then people like, oh, so you think this is all you need to do? Whoop-de-doo. So I think I better say number 2. We're not here to congratulate ourselves on what we have done, but to challenge ourselves to finish what has not been done. Mogna Westcore, Vistansda. The director gave the cut signal, and the cameraman stopped filming. My speech was finished. Vistansda. The future lies in our hand. Wait. The reform process was long and arduous, taking up much of Rayne's first 2 years in office. Undoubtedly, the president is relieved to be able to move on and finish fulfilling his campaign promises. Continue. Revelation! What kind of revelation? God. Sitting Canterbury police issue. Favorite investor. Ministry of Defense and Interior have put blame on each other. Geopolitical. Queen Beatrice demand reparation for century-old alleged war crime. Brought as thought instead of 15-day war. Igniting the forgotten century-old debate of Sordid war crime. She spoke about the need for peace and change in the Eastern Makopa, and the way forward is to walk if paths across the are finally settled. Queen Livingston claimed that Sordid army in the 1870s had a massacred ethnic Rams with plans of committing genocide. Sordid still hasn't claimed that any responsibility for their past war crimes, said the Queen, and demanded reparations. Hundreds killed. Oh my god! The number of deaths believed to have surpassed 100. Acknowledging governments have still not reached. Oh my god. I think I screwed up choosing to side with Agnolia. Holy. should have made the highway. I should have made the highway. Look at that! Residents are the president of Sordland, Allsort. It was a cloudy, rainy day in Allsort. The gloomy weather wouldn't dampen my spirits. My constitutional reform had been passed in the court. I had won. That wasn't the only cause for excitement in the Rayne household. Today, Frank was finally leaving home. My son piled the last of his bag next to the door. Sergei and the assistant driver were waiting outside next to the car. Did you pack everything? Don't forget to give me a call immediately after you arrive. I will. I think I'm all packed. Monica helped him pack his bag, put on his backpack on, while Sergei started carrying the luggage to the car. I made you a sack lunch. I get it from the kitchen. She dashed down from the hall. Frank and I turned to face each other in the doorway. So I guess this is it. Especially like number 2 is like, hey, screw you, kind of feeling. So I feel like, don't forget where you came from, son. How could I? I'm the president's son. Frank shifted his weight nervously. I haven't forgotten what you told me about the university years. I hope going to a new country gives me a chance to prove myself the same way you did. All of this, like, number 3 and number 4 looks very nice. Don't model your life on mine. You are your own man now, Frank. Yeah. Frank smiled. Alright, Dad. At that moment, Diana rushed to the door. Frank! I'm gonna miss you. I miss you too. Don't forget, you got to give Mom and Dad extra hard time for both of us now. Diana nodded. Okay. Frank picked up his sister and gave her a big hug. Monica appeared in the doorway, holding a paper bag. I cut the crust off the sandwich just the way you used to like. I'm not a kid anymore, Mom. Can't a mother pretend? Oh, Frank. She embraced him with tears in her eyes. Frank looked as if he was about to cry as well. I caught her glaring at me over her shoulder. I hope someday she will understand why I decided to send him away. It's that the biggest downfall for Frank is that he thinks that he's the president's son. Like, it's not like he's going, like partying all day, but he kind of like take it for granted. Sending him away would make him, how do I say this? Sending him away would make him like grow up mature. Sergei approached. So Frank needs to catch the next ship to the United Cortana, which leaves from Conrad in 4 hours. You will have to leave now to make it. Time to go, Sergei. Thank you, Sergei. Frank turned around and took one last look at me. Make me proud. Frank nodded before nodding to the car. It's difficult to see them grow and leave, isn't it? It's time for him to find himself in the world. He will. We all did, after all. Being exposed to a different culture, different beliefs, it changes a man. I think it will be a liberating experience for him. It's never easy for boys to live in the shadow of their fathers. And it must have been even harder when the father is President Rayne. A great man like you casts a very long shadow. Well said. He nodded and looked at his watch. Time to go. Frank waved his hand and entered the car. The engine started and they were on their way. Monica stood next to me as they drove away. Her eyes were teary. There he goes. He already feels different. She put her head on my shoulder. Stroked her hair. I stroked her hair supportively. She turned to me, kissed me on the cheek, and put her head on my shoulder again. Wifey! At least he has a father he can boast to his new friends about. Anton, the great reformer. Sounds good, doesn't it? He watched for a few minutes, even after the car was no longer in sight. Sordland today. Started, you see. President Rayne elected to send his son. Sorry, people even. The young scion undoubtedly had a plethora of prestigious educational institutions to pick from, so the choice of United Contender can only be seen as an attempt to curry favor with the Eastern superpower. Sordland is sure to reap the benefit. Woo! Voxlandian ships harassing the entire Markian Sea. But the thing is that Agnolia did, something terrible, like here, 100 skills of KG land. God. Using force is never a good way. Voxland harasses Swordlish ships. Dozens of Swordlish cargo ships out their shipping lane this week, leading to a maritime safety organization to change the sea routes. The new pair of United Contender Akaza was twice as long but avoids potential contact with the Voxland Navy. The Swordlish Navy Admiral has called Voxlandia actions reckless and a potential threat to civilian life due to the high risk of collision. The Admiral dispatched several fighters to protect the maritime borders. Read the report from Forsword. Presidential salary increase. Woo! A new law increasing yearly salaries and elected officials during, including that of the President of Sordland. Money. Discussion on the changes of the law. Lucian and I sat in the office waiting for Peter. I was at my desk and he was on the sofa, legs crossed. Sir, I have some news for you. Mr. Hall and I have been working on several possible plans to boost the economy as if our focus. He's currently compiling a very detailed report with suggested projects. I'll make sure that you have a chance to see it soon. Before the Vice President gets here, I want to congratulate you for opening investigation against Tarquin Sol. The intelligence team is working on a very detailed report already. The Old Guards members are doing their best to create obstacles for us, but we already have a very strong case against him. You'll take him to court in no time. He leaned closer to me. Sir. I also must say I can't help but notice Mr. Vice President is late yet another time. He lowered his voice. I'm slightly concerned about Peter. He seems to have his mind occupied. He's been late to almost every meeting we had recently. I noticed it too. I need to talk to him in private sometime. Suddenly there was a knock at the door. It was Peter. He walked inside with files in both hands. Gentlemen? Why are you so late? We were stuck in traffic around Seoul Square. There was a whole gaggle of ladies trying to organize the illegal march. We had to wait for the police to show up. He placed the files on my table, took out several documents and organized them in front of me. Here is everything, just as you asked. Our plans for our next reforms. Here are some suggested reforms. You can pass this with your degrees as you like. What are your thoughts, Anton? Let's go over the documents. Even if we have a few ideas, let's just check it out first, okay? You can select out to 3 raw. Trade and commerce in Sordland has few regulatory measures, resulting in unfair competition. A new Fair Trade Commission can be established by a decree to push for fair market competition by protecting local industry through new regulation. Maybe. This is bad. This is bad. -2 budget. That's not it. Damn it. I think 2 is enough. Scottish Radio and Television Supreme Council. Freedom of speech is protected in Sordland, but with the rise of new media, private organizations gained a massive influence on society. With a new decree, we could create a government agency, SRSC, that could protect the independence of the media or control it. I want to do this. We don't have the budget, so this much is good. Yes. Following a brief discussion, I took notes about my decision. The Fair Trade Commission will be essential in dealing with the monopolies. It was time we established a body that regulates economic competition. I very much support your decision to form a regulatory body and radio television. Television is the future. It's great that we all understand this. This is the 1950s after all, okay? It would definitely help us to have an influence on new media. So how will you structure the Supreme Council of Scottish Radio and Television? I think number one, I want them to be independent and only regulate the content according to some standards. Loss of media bias. Understood. Well, we both respect your decision, Anton. But now that everything's settled, I should get to work. We'll catch up soon. You shouldn't look at his watch. We actually have 6 more minutes. But very well, let's call it here. Thank you both. Joint military. Media regulated. Like, even if it's independent, we still need to regulate it. Lanka commerce all-time high. Small business activity in Lankirk has increased with the new goods entering and exiting the port, with trucks traveling at the same distance before with faster speed thanks to the new highway. Lankirk has also increased in visitors and businesses ever since the opening of H3. The influx of people is primarily from Magnolia and Nargis region of Sordland, who are buying properties and enjoying cheaper seaside alternatives to Lackhaven. Oh my god. I really feel like want to do the highway thing and not be friends with Magnolia. But if we have Magnolia, we have easy to say, we have a direct trade partner. Commission to ensure competition and fair trade has formed the Fair Trade Commission to ensure unchecked arcade and capital doesn't take away our citizens' quality of product and profits benefit from the loyal citizens serving the country. The new commission, overseen by the experts from the state and private. Oh my god, I'm trying to make a trade deal with Acacia or Lesbia, in a sense, Acacia. But this is gonna definitely put monkey wrench into it. New council to oversee media releases. Palace want to ensure that citizens receive accurate and correct information. This act is welcome in a day and age where Saudi citizens are ever more successful to foreign influence and biased media organizations. Censorship Council threatens freedom of speech. What if that information is incorrect? What would you do then? What if it's a hoax? You need to think about it. It needs some regulations. Circling over Starport. Patricia Alvarez, the Prime Minister of Russia, on his scheduled visit to Republic of Inolia to meet President Martin Van Houten, had failed to get off the plane where he landed on Starport International Airport. It is believed that he has too drunk to get off the plane. The assembled dignitaries awaited for the airplane at the scheduled hour, but Alvarez's plane did not land. Airport officials reported it was circling over starport. After circling for 2 hours and the plane landed, Alvarez did not come out. Latvian officials informed Van Houten that Alvarez was unwell and that the foreign minister would join the meeting instead. Oh my god. We're gonna deal with a corrupt idiot. Oh my god. We're gonna deal with a corrupt idiot. Straight talk with Just again, what the hell? After a long whistle, Maroon train slowly started to move. The train had been in service for many years. It had 9 locomotives with special quarters and an office. As the name implies, it was painted with a bright maroon color. Among the flashes and cheers, we departed from Hallsford train station. Our destination was Perla, the capital of Lesbia. The historic route we were using was called the Southern Express. We passed through Lesbian mountain range and lowlands with a short stop at the beautiful Sadia Nueva, where Lesbian security forces joined us. Looking outside the window, the difference of wealth between Volgan and Sadia Nueva was extraordinary. I heard a knock on the door of my office on train, and Simon entered. Mr. President? Yes, what is it? I want to have a quick chat about Prime Minister Alvarez and give you a heads up. There have been some rumors about his demeanor in public appearances. Go on. He is known to have met with other state leaders while being intoxicated on various occasions. Some even call him an alcoholic. Yeah, we read the report. Is this something that could affect the trade deal? Honestly, I don't know. He handed me a newspaper called Circling Over Starport. Yeah, we read this. This happened just yesterday. Apparently he was so drunk that he couldn't get off the plane on a diplomatic visit. After this incident, some say he is unfit to serve, but I don't believe that at all. Why? Although his presidency is riddled with these kind of incidents, I also heard he's a shrewd man. Now I'm worried. I'm sure we will be fine, Mr. President. We are almost at Perla. I will return to my cabin now. Very well. A few minutes later, with a long whistle, our train came to a stop. I waved to the crowd from the window. Lotto reported that flock over were pushed away by the Latvian security guard. We made our way to our cars, and our convoy began its short trip to the Yellow House. The Yellow House was situated at the very center of Perla, in the middle of a circular park that was off limits to regular citizens. The park was full of roses and on small patches. The convoy came to a stop, and I made my way to the entrance. The assistant directed me to a room to wait for Prime Minister Alvarez. Wait. I started waiting in the exquisite room with golden chandeliers. I waited for around 10 more minutes, but there was no sign of the Prime Minister. It was almost time for a meeting. The chair started to feel uncomfortable. I stood up and walked around to look at the various items in the room. A beautiful golden teapot piqued my interest. Inspect the teapot. While I was touching it, the handle broke off. I looked around. Thankfully, no one was in the room. Leave the broken handle next to the teapot. The door opened and Patricio Alvarez entered. Although I knew that he was one of the youngest state leaders in the world right now, I was still surprised by how tall he looked. At his young age, he was leading one of the strongest countries in Eastern Macopa. I got a feeling that I gotta pay with my money. He was holding his head like he had a headache, and he was stumbling. Upon seeing me, he immediately composed himself. We shook hands. He gestured towards the 2 couches, and we sat down face to face. President Rayne, welcome to Perla. Good to have you here. I hear a lot about your successes. Thank you. It's good to be here, Mr. Alvarez. I hope you had a nice trip. I smelled a strong odor of alcohol. Don't say anything. Let's begin then. So you're here for the trade deal. What was it about again? Can you remind me? We want to provide storage Starton in return for lesbian capital? Ah, yes, right. Sorry, I have just been very busy lately. With alcohol? You know, being president makes you pretty busy. So I don't have any issues with this deal. I think this deal will contribute nicely to the relationship between Lesbia and Sordland. I will sign the executive order. I do, however, believe that we can do much more than just trade. We, by we, I mean NATO, would like to see Sordland in our sphere. What do you think, Mr. Rayne? Why would you do that for Sordland? What is it in you? What's in it for you? Prosperity in Eastern Macopa, remedying all alliances, and most importantly, forming a defensive pact against United Contana. He clenched his fist and slammed it to the coffee table. Those damn communists! We need to stop them before it's too late. Vox and those barbarians are preparing to invade Hilgi land on false accusation, but it seems like there is some truth to it. If Agnolia is first, Sordland will be next. I'll be frank, Eastern Macopa's only way to survival is through Edo. We need the support of one of the largest players in Eastern Macopa, Sordland. The beautiful country of Sordland is the key to all of this. We need you, Mr. Rayne. We need Sordland. Are you with us? Will you defend our continent against the blight of the communism? I think you're exaggerating the threat. I have my doubts about this. I'm giving you this option for your own country's good, Mr. Rayne. I offer you alliance. Together, we will shield the continent against Malin with evil. Not to mention that you will have Akazia's full backing, the most powerful ally you can have in this era. Okay. Now, think about it like this. The biggest problem that we have right now is Romberg, okay? But now, if we have him, we're gonna deal with Rom. We're probably gonna have a strong shield against Romberg. But there's a big but. If I do this, then later we'll be caught in between United Contana and basically Voxland and Lesbia. And we're in the middle, so we're gonna suffer the most. I have to refuse. I will not drag Sol into an international conflict. It's not saying I don't like him, it's that, well, I really don't like him. But I'm afraid that they might attack us. I have to refuse. You think you are invading the conflict by trying to stay neutral? Remember my words, when the conflict is at your doorstep, ring your doorbell, Mr. Rayne. Don't forget that I gave you a choice. I can just say that I hope Sordland doesn't fall to a bad position because of your decision. You look at the clock. I'm afraid I have to leave now to attend to other matters. Thank you for your visit. On his way back, he suddenly turned around. Before I forget, you owe me a teapot. He smiled and left the room. Sign new trade agreement. Diplomacy. FTZ with Lesbia. Private meeting with Peter. Wait, give me a second. Queen demands for reparation for 15-day war. Okay. Private meeting with Peter. It was a dark, chilly evening when Peter called and asked if we could meet. He gave no detail. All he said was, "Important. I drove alone through Holsworth suburbs until I reached the meeting point he named 147 Ruhack Avenue, number 26, our old campaign headquarters. Untouched since the night of the election, this was where everything began. I made up my way up the dusty staircase of the office building. The light in the second floor hallway was out, so I used a cigarette lighter to find my way to the wooden door marked 26. I pulled out on the handle, but it wouldn't budge. The heavy door had always been a pain to open. Coming! Peter pushed on the door with all his might. It made a screeching sound as it opened. Without further ado, I bid you welcome to this grand nostalgia trip hosted by yours truly, Peter Vectorn. He made an exaggerated bow. The dust from the open door was still settling down. Feeling sentimental yet? Indeed, I haven't been this place in ages. I miss it sometimes. Even that damn door. Come on, come over here. Remember this? He walked over to his old desk and pointed to the gramophone that had annoyed our neighbors and kept us company for so many late nights. Peter flipped the switch and it filled the room with swing music from the 20s. I'll be damned, it still works. I thought this office was sold off. No, I've been paying the rent. Too many memories attached to this place just to sell it. And, you know, we might use it again soon. He put his hand under the desk and brought a bottle out. He took a swig out of it and passed the bottle to me. Are there any glasses? Tyler's life is pampering you too much. Just drink from the bottle like the old days. Remember where we came from. Peter snapped his fingers to the music while going through the items in the room. It looked virtually unchanged since the election night. Come on, have a look around. See if it does bring back memories. Check your old desk drawers. Inside, there's few coins, pencils, and sheets of paper. Underneath them, something caught my eye. It was a photograph of me, Monica, sitting under a tree. This must have been 10, maybe 15 years ago. We looked so young and happy. Monica would have loved to see this. Nice find. Look at baby Anson. You didn't even have your iconic look. Take the photograph and slid it into my pocket. Look through the storage boxes. In the storage boxes, I found a heavy object wrapped safely. I unwrapped it. It was an emerald-colored statue of a goat, the symbol of Sordland. I remember that this was a gift from Brenda, one of the 53 election campaign assistants. It would look good on my desk in the palace. Brenda. Always sucking up to you. And where did you get her? Seriously, where? I have no idea where she ended up with. Take the statue. I lifted the storage box and put it near the door so I could take it on the way out. Go through the records in the gramophone. I found my favorite album, Mountains by Janet Gers, a set of plaintive folk songs that made me yearn for the countryside whenever I heard it. What a classic. You should mail that to friends so you can learn what real music is. Take the record. I'm like a hoarder now. Okay, now going through the old stuff. Let's talk. Yes. All in good time. He gestured to the bottle he had in his hand. No, I'm good. He shrugged, took a big gulp out of the bottle and staggered to the side afterwards. I know you, Peter. Why are you hiding? Nothing. Let's go on to the roof. The view was always amazing from there. We went up to the stairs to the roof. The view was mesmerizing. The buildings of Holsworth twinkled below us. The stars shone bright in the sky. We sat, leaned back against the wall, taking it all in. Right as I was starting to get up, I heard sobbing sound. I turned to Peter and saw tears streaming down his cheeks. What's wrong? He wiped tears away. I messed up, Anthem. I messed up big time. Evelyn's leaving me. She wants a divorce. What the hell did you do? I I've been sleeping with Livia Suno. Ah, calm down. You've been what? I know, she's your secretary. I'm so sorry. It's just Emily hasn't been the same since she lost her job. And Livia was giving me sultry looks from the day I hired her. You were away, I was drunk, one thing led to another. But she's more than just a pretty girl, Anton. She's smart and kind. I think we really are connected. I like her too, but that doesn't mean I break my vow and risk a scandal for a bit of horizontal polo. Oh my god. I know, but we're ending things. I told you it's too unprofessional. I want Evelyn back. Who else knows besides me and the three of you? Nobody, I swear. Well, maybe Lucian since he knows everything. But you know he never spilled the beans. There was an edge of desperation in Peter's voice. He took another drink. How many years have we known each other? How many scrapes have we gotten ourselves out of? I can handle this, just trust me. I turned to my friend and vice president. The habits that had gotten him dubbed the bad boy of Swedish politics when we were young were no longer charming, coming from a middle-aged man. Yet he was still a capable politician, and I could ignore our long history together. I'll be blunt. You'll fix this or remove you from office. This is way before like if we was playing with Livia. Like you didn't support your wife. Well, pot calling the kettle black, but still. I'll be blunt. You'll fix this or I'll remove you from office. Yes, Anton, I understand. Thank you so much. Don't worry, mistakes happen. Without waiting for his reaction, I left the rooftop alone and made my way downstairs. On my way out, I grabbed my belongings and took one last look back at the office. It had been home to some happy memories for sure, but this visit had permanently cured me of any nostalgia. As soon as I arrived home, I headed up to my study, sat down, and stared at the telephone. Call Evelyn. Pick up the phone and dial Peter's home number. Evelyn answered after a few rings. Anton instead, is everything alright? I told her what I knew about her, Peter, and Livia. Oh. He was silent for so long I thought she might have hung up. Whatever you have to say, it won't change my mind. Peter still loves you. He was in tears when we talked. Ellie gave a short, sharp laugh. Do you know Peter at all? Really know him? Livia wasn't the first, she won't be the last. There will always be another beautiful young woman for him to prey on. Livia was a willing participant. Well, the thing is, I think like answering number one is like totally taking out the power balances here. But I think number three is better. He has a wandering eye. You knew when you married him. I thought I could curb his worst impulses, but it obviously wasn't true. Look at whom he goes after. Secretaries, kitchen staff, aides. Remember Brenda? What do they have in common? When the vice president asked them for sex, they might lose their job if they refuse. I go to the media about this if I wasn't persona non grata at the Holsop Post, but if there was a shred of chance, I'd taken seriously. Be taken seriously. But at the very least, I will no longer be an accomplice of his abuse of power. And frankly, Anton, neither should you. Hung up without waiting for me to respond. I took a minute to think over what she had said. Call Lucian. He picked up very quickly. Mr. President, I told Lucian about everything Peter had told me about himself, Evelyn, and Livia. Thank you for calling me, Mr. President. This serves to confirm the suspicion of my own. We have to meet. Right now. Tomorrow morning in your office. Early before either of the two arrive. Don't bring this up to anyone else. I feel we might have more than a mere dalliance on our hands. Line dropped. I stared at the receiver, wondering what his last statement meant. What was going on that I didn't know about? I went to bed. I couldn't sleep at all. You idiot! National Business Council warned of excessive spending. Leadership figures from private and state sector brought forward complaints about the country could have had to a serious debt crisis if the situation is left unchecked. Experts have sounded alarm about a potential credit rating downgrade in this situation if a better balance wouldn't be achieved soon. Okay, at least it's going up. Take a look. It's going to 3. I think it's like it's recovering now. Oh boy. Okay. Okay. We'll end the stream after this. Okay, start of the day at the palace. It was early in the afternoon after my talk with Peter. The sun was just beginning to peek over the horizon. The Maroon Palace was empty, save for a few cleaning staff. I entered my office to find Lucian already waiting for me. Mr. President, thank you for meeting me at this hour. I couldn't sleep anyway. Very well. I'm pleased to that you chose to call me after the conversation with Mr. Vector last night. Although I was already aware of this illicit relationship with Miss Suno, I figure as much. How did you find out? I'll get to that. On its own, given Mr. Vector's established reputation as something of a playboy, the affair is unlikely to cause much damage. However, a more troubling possibility has been brought to light. A recent conversation with Mr. Hailstone, our whistleblower from Romberg, revealed the presence of a spy in the Maroon Palace. I believe Miss Suno is our mole. She has been using her relationship with Mr. Vector to gather information. Tell me more. I can do better than that. I'll show you. Lucian reached to his coat pocket, pulled out an audio tape and fed it to a reel-to-reel machine on my desk. This was recorded in the palace at 1809, the second day of your trade visit to Lesbia. He pressed play. I heard Peter and Levia's voices. You sure everyone's gone for the day? Relax, Lev. Nobody's working that hard with President stick up his ass in Lesbia. Fucking bastard. Livia giggled. I heard the sound of kissing, then the drinks being poured. I'm glad you stayed behind. Did he tell you how it's going over there? Do you think there's going to be a chance they'll form an alliance? No, doesn't seem like it. Although we still got a shot with the superpowers. There's a talk about possible cooperation. But enough work talk, Miss Suno. I want you to bend over my desk, now. Lucian grimaced and switched off the tape. And then what happened? You don't need to recreate the rest of it. The important question is, why so much curiosity on the particular alliances? It's not because they could strengthen us against Romberg. And that's not all. I found her resume on file. There's a 1-year-long gap between her finishing secretarial school and beginning her career. Normally this would have been looked into, but Miss Suno was hired before a background check could be completed by one Peter Vector. Just then there was a knock on the door. Livia opened cautiously. Good morning, Mr. President, Mr. Galate. I didn't realize you'd be in so early. Can I get you some coffee? Coffee would be great, actually. Like, play cool first. Play cool. Livia left to make coffee. A few minutes later, she came back with 2 cups. Please have a seat, Miss Suno. Livia said. She looked puzzled. Is something the matter? You're not pretending. Your secret is out. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Come on, Livia. Peter has told me everything. Livia buried her face in her hand. I'm so sorry, Mr. President. I was foolish, and Peter was so nice to me. But it's over now. Nobody ever needs to know. That's not what President means, Mitsuno. We're referring you to the intelligence agent for Rumberg. She sat up right. She looked shocked. Pardon me, Mr. Galit, but are you feeling alright? It's fine. What do you have to say for yourself? Like, we'll listen to her, but we won't like go all out accusing her. Mr. President, I understand if you don't want me to keep my job, but why spear me for outlandish accusations? Mitsuno, indulge me for a moment. What were you doing in the year of 51? Livia face flushed. If you must know, I was working as a cigarette girl at Porto's. It's a Lackhaven saloon. I was saving up so I could afford my own place in Hallsford. Here's the proprietor's number if you need to double check. She scribbled a telephone number on a piece of paper. Lucius snatched it up. Why have you been asking? This one here, hey? Well, number one is like, it's normal, she is a secretary after all. Why were you asking Peter about my alliances? To tell the truth, Mr. Rayne, I was hoping to run for office myself someday. I want to make real difference in the world, like Miss Morgana or Miss Walda. I guess I messed up by getting involved with Peter. Now they are all just going to say I slept my way to the top. Wait, how did you know about the conversation? There was a loud pounding on the door. Peter barged in without waiting for an answer. He was unshaven and wore the same clothes as the night before. I came as I soon as heard the three of you here. Anton, what the hell are you doing? I told you I had this under control. Sit down and shut up. Peter took a seat at the far end, so he looked over at Livia and noticed her troubled expression. God, why involve her? This is my mess. She did. Well, there's a small chance she could be a spy. What? I have reason to believe she's been relaying information to Rumberg. Information that you leaked to her in your carelessness. Lucian rewound the tape and played it again. As Peter listened, his eyes widened in disbelief. Lucian, you rat bastard, you've been bugging my office. Obviously for a good reason. Both Peter and Livia were glaring at Lucian now. He looked unrepentant. I had noticed the Vice President's behavior becoming increasingly erratic and unprofessional over the past month. I wanted to get to the root of the cause. So you wiretapped your own goddamn colleague, and for what? Have you been getting off on this, you pervert? Certainly not. I believe that along with the Rumberg whistleblower admission that there is a spy in the palace and certain gaps in Miss Suno's resume. This tape makes a compelling case to investigate the secretary for espionage. Whether or not an investigation yields positive results, Mr. Vector ought to be held accountable for his willingness to divulge in such sensitive information. He ought to stand trial, or at the very least, resign. Peter's jaw dropped. Livia stood up. If I may, Mr. President, I've been paying attention to what goes on in the palace, not because I'm some sort of agent, but out of general interest. Hard as that may be for you to believe, Mr. Galid. She scowled at Lucian, then turned back to me. And from what I've seen, this man has been attempting to undermine your Vice President at every turn, perhaps with the goal of replacing Peter himself. Number two. Number two sounds very stupid. That's ridiculous. I would never make Lucian my friend. I trust Lucian more. Like he put so much effort into it. There's no way. Nonsense. Lucian has been nothing but loyal. Loyal to you, it's true, but he never could stand me. Lucian frowned. My personal misgiving about Mr. Vector aside, I would never do anything to harm this administration. Mr. Vector, on the other hand, has at best committed adultery, at worst delivered state secrets straight into the enemy's hands. Who could I believe? Lucian, can I speak to you alone for a moment? Peter and Livia exchanged worried glances before exiting my office. What are you going to do, Mr. President? I believe we should investigate Livia. The ship breathed a sigh of I appreciate your trust in me. And Mr. Vecton, what will you do about his willingness to compromise Sordland's security at the drop of a pencil skirt? I'll decide that once we have the results. Very well. Just keep in mind you may need him to shoulder the blame for this. Lucian adjusted his tie. I apologize to Miss Suno and tell her this has all been an understanding. We can't have her running away during the investigation. I do it myself. She's too suspicious of you. Very well, sir. Lucian gave a slight bow as he left the office. I sat by myself for a while, wondering what exactly set into motion. If you ask me, like, spying on your co-workers without knowing is wrong. But, first of all, he's the vice president. Okay? Second of all, he's been late for every meeting from the very beginning. Like, even you get curious, right? I know it's not a good reason, but if you don't do anything, like, at best he's just lazy. At worst, like, he's trying to undermine us. Oh my god. Okay. I think this is just nice for me to end the stream because like, we'll deal with the affair next time. Okay? In the next stream. So that means tomorrow. So I hope that things will be like going smoother this time. And like, I'm not a big fan of Peter. Of course, Peter is a you know, is a good is a fun guy to hang around. But like I say, I don't think that for he's fit. I don't think he's fit for vice president or the part of cabinet. Oh boy. New successful trade agreement and free trade. So, traded goods with Sordland and the region. Agriculture zone is going up. Okay. Well, we'll deal with Peter tomorrow, okay? There's a chance, without a doubt, I just want Peter out. Like, he's been causing so much trouble for me. But then, who will take over his place? Okay, Alvin Clavin is too much of a dunderhead. Lucian Galate, without that, I want him there. But then, who's gonna be the chief strategist? It's like, Lucian is technically our VP, but just the title is not there. I trust Lucian wholeheartedly. I would never lead Franz Richter to our as our vice president. It's gonna bring too much. It's gonna like empower him too much. He's gonna take too much credit. So the worst will probably be would be Alvin Clavin. That's the worst that I'm willing to go. I'm not willing to have Franz Richter in my cabinet. Maybe if I reshuffle, like maybe he's somewhere down here. These two, I do not want him there. Okay. With that said, like we'll go through this tomorrow. Okay. So yeah, that's it for today. I think that it's gonna be a troublesome It's gonna be a hard choice tomorrow. But at the very least, economy's looking up. Okay? Yeah. So that's it for Suzerain today. I'll continue this tomorrow. Okay? So with that said, bye bye.